there. Welcome back to another episode of I Am Not Naming This Podcast. I hope that you are feeling fantastic and ready to tune in because I have a special episode for you. Let's dive in, shall we? Does it feel like your life is falling apart when you are in between paychecks? In talking to entrepreneurs, sometimes this conversation comes up, and I would love to address it because it's not only a question among entrepreneurs, it's also a question among others who may have 9 to 5s, but just don't feel like they're being compensated enough. So let's talk about the emotional roller coaster of money gaps. Does that uncertainty creep in when you're having slow financial seasons? Or are you cool, calm, and collected through it all? Here's what I've noticed there is a such thing as putting faith above fear. And the reason why you have to choose one or the other is because they can't occupy the same space. You can't say that you have faith that God's got you and your finances are handled and everything's going to be okay, but at the same time, you're fearful of where that next check is coming from. You see how those two things just don't align? But when we choose faith, when we trust the process, and we maintain that mindset of abundance, that shifts the entire reality. It actually changes the way in which we perceive our situation. For all of my creatives, all of my entrepreneurs, have you ever thought about this downtime being something that you could use strategically? There are so many ways for us to use our time, and it's very interesting because they're all within reach, but we have to actually be willing to see it. We have to be open to that possibility. So let's say whether you are an entrepreneur or you are working a job and you could use some more income. Can we all agree that there's some time within a day somewhere? If we can't agree on that, then we'll save that topic for another time. You let me know if you feel like there is no downtime in your days ever, because then I'll know that we need to have a completely different conversation. But I'm going to keep us on track for today. So let's just say that you have downtime and you are looking for ways to use it strategically. That downtime is not a bad thing, my friends. That downtime can be so nourishing, so rejuvenating if you use it properly. What if that downtime could be best spent rebranding your entire business? What if that downtime could be best spent creating a business that maybe you don't already have? We need downtime to sharpen our skills, to prepare for the next phase of life. We need downtime to pick up a book and read, to take long walks, to relax, to invigorate our bodies with exercise, to fuel our bodies with good food. There's so many reasons why we need a break. And yet, when we get those breaks in life, do we always recognize the opportunity or do we complain? So now let's talk about a money mindset and how we can actually reset that. Because one question I have for anyone who does not think that they're earning enough and wants to earn more, and let me just be clear, there's always room for more. And when good people are earning money, that actually allows them to do more good in the world. When you have enough money to pay your bills and do all the things that you need to do, it becomes easier to volunteer your time, to get involved with organizations who need your help and not charge them a thing in order to do it. When you have the earnings that you desire and the earnings that sustain your lifestyle, all of a sudden you have more money to give. to people who need it, to charities, to whomever you want to help grow and succeed. So just understand we're not putting a cap on your earnings. Rather, we're having a conversation about resetting the way you define wealth. Is wealth solely defined by your income? I would invite you to look at the bigger picture. And at the same time that you're working to boost your income, remember that wealth is also your health, your relationships, your mindset. All of the different facets of wellness can be categorized as wealth as well. So, is there an opportunity for you to learn and grow and enjoy your time, even during those down seasons? Could you phone a friend after months of not having time to catch up? Can you do something that's going to fill your cup? In these quiet periods, we have an opportunity to prepare ourselves for the next breakthrough. So I encourage you to think about that and to consider that it's not actually a setback. It's a setup for your comeback. How do we like that? Does that sound good? I like it. Sometimes we just get redirected in life, and it's perfectly okay. Now, at the same time, this also doesn't mean that we're twiddling our thumbs and not doing anything to move our businesses forward or to advance in our careers or whatever it is that we're looking to achieve. We're still working on those things. We're working on those things, and we're also working on ourselves, because when you work on yourself, it's one of the best investments you can make. It doesn't only benefit you, but it benefits everyone around you. So, for those of you who tend to panic when the phone isn't ringing, can you find a more abundant thought that will lead to a more abundant feeling? When you're in between paychecks, you're not stuck. Consider that you have an opportunity for advancement in a huge way. I'll never forget. I was on a call with fellow realtors, and we were having a conversation about our businesses. And someone said that she loves that time when she's closed all of her pending transactions and there's nothing on the books, because there's some excitement in that question of where the next closing would come from. And when I first heard that, I took a minute to think about it. I was like, oh, excitement, huh? And when I thought about it, I was reminded there's something in that that calls up another part of me. There's something in that that tells me, okay, it's time to get out there and serve. This is a perfect opportunity to help people. Why? Because there are people out there who need my help. There are people out there who need your help. So, what do? We get out there and we help them, because at the end of the day, we know that there is an abundance of work. There are people who you are meant to serve, people who will be delighted to hear from you and to work with you. So when we find those people, when we meet them at the grocery store, at a networking event, at a friend's birthday party, wherever you meet that person, how impactful would it be, instead of walking into that room with an energy of defeat? How about walking into that room exuding confidence, walking into that room oozing gratitude? That's the energy that calls in more opportunities. That's the energy that moves the needle forward. And it's something that you truly have to create within yourself. You can't fake it. I know people use this saying, you got to fake it until you make it. I don't buy that. When you pour into yourself enough, when you take care of home, then there is no faking it, because that joy is real and people can feel that. And you begin to see that, because we don't get what we want, we get who we are. So if you are pure joy, you're going to look around you and you're going to see joy. Confidence loves confidence. Gratitude, well, you surely will meet people who are just as grateful, but you have to really, really be that. And I'm not saying it's always easy because we have bad moments. We're human, but it doesn't have to be an entire day, week, month, year. There is a way that we can feel our emotions, allow the feelings through, regardless of how uncomfortable they are. We can still allow those feelings and truly feel them. And then we remind ourselves of how we want to feel. We remind ourselves of who we truly are. And we allow ourselves to go back to that. And once we get back to that, then we become a vibe. We become the person we want to be around. And so those people who we want in our lives, in they come. They come to meet us where we are. And how beautiful is that? So if you are in a transition right now, if you have some adjustments to make in your career or in your business, try allowing it. Try being still and truly assessing what it is that you want and need. And allow yourself to grow, to create, to become more and more of who you truly are. We could all use some more faith, some more joy, and it's all right here for us. Talking to you is one of my favorite parts of the week. I hope you got something out of this episode today. If you'd like to help more people find I Am Not Naming This Podcast by Shanice Jedinay, you can do so by subscribing and leaving a review. Also, feel free to share with a friend or family member.